Okay. Hello.
This is the podcast, Girls
And the City. You are welcomed by your two lovely co-hosts, me, Susanna, whose one-liner for this week is, the more you fuck around, the more you find out.
What? Okay, we'll have to unpack that one. And me, Elizabeth, who at a recent Women in Tech panel, I was on the panel, but anyways, another woman gave the advice of fake it till you make it, which I've heard before, but I was like, wow, it's really true. It's still coming back around.
I think it's like a stay delusional, it works.
Yeah, it's the same thing,
way.
but like more professional.
Yeah.
You know. Anyways. Each episode, we watch an episode of Sex and the City. We talk about the main themes. We try to answer the question. And we also give it a personal twist by sharing some of our own experiences as well.
Perfect. You don't even have to read it anymore, right?
I make it up every single time. This is, again, me faking it till I'm making it.
I am amazed because there's a huge difference between two of us. And I always struggle before recording. We have these one-liners, and obviously you can tell who needs to be prepared and who doesn't.
Just a bullshitter on the fly, you know?
Whereas if I need to bullshit, I will just stop talking and then take it from the beginning again.
Yeah,
so
fair.
Opposites attract, that they say.
Yeah. But I was
how
asking,
are you?
No,
oh,
I asked first.
Am I the first?
You're the first to go. How are you?
So 2 weeks since we talked properly. Yeah. How am I? I had somehow holidays. I went to Slovakia. That was very nice. I think, the whole idea of taking shorter but more regular holidays rather than long, but maybe once or twice a year. I kind of agree with that because I was able to switch off and almost were looking forward to go back and continue on whatever I'm trying to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that
and
was
it's also
nice.
not too long, right? Because it's like sometimes if you take too long of vacation, you're like, how do I do my job again? So.
Oh yeah, like after Christmas, it was so difficult.
What's my password? How do I open whatever?
But also, like, I don't want to be productive. I just want to stay in bed and lying and doing nothing.
Your lifestyle routine changes, yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks. It is true. After 2 weeks, you start to kind of pick up the new change about your life. So yeah, 1 week. Well, that's a good kind of time to take some time off, but not too much. Anyway, so yeah, that was my week before, and I saw my family, spent time outside, did some cool activities with friends, like shooting.
Oh, right. You posted about that. That was crazy.
Yeah.
It's like going back to our hobbies, and I was like, that's so casual.
No, because I used to do competitive shooting, and I love to shoot on at the target, not anything else, but that's more like you need to really concentrate, and it's rather long than fast shooting. So yeah, I enjoyed that, and then I came back, and it's been just work really. I'm trying to do a few this is passion project for me, but because I'm crazy and delusional, I just keep putting more and more on my shoulders, and starting to
burn yourself out,
lose myself in it. So yeah, I'm trying to pick it up, and do a little bit every day. Plus, life admin always hits you. It's there.
It really does.
And I have been, just for context, I have been living around in the past 3 years, and because of the situation that I lived in a different country and work in a different country, I had to do my own taxes. So I'm basically still dealing with 3 countries and trying to understand how to pay taxes. And that's
there's
just
professionals who do this for you.
Oh, they are.
Oh,
Trust
okay.
me. I have people in every country, and Still, it's a long process. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's about me. It's really nice weather in London. I keep saying that, but it's like 20 degrees today, and it's supposed to be even more for the next
Warmer.
week.
Yeah.
So I am really happy. Yeah.
That's so
How about
nice.
you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I did the women in tech panel at my old university, which was really cool. It felt like
That's
a real
nice.
adult, advising younger. They were like both guys and girls. It's not just girls that showed up. So, it was really cool. The way I got into it is my old professor from undergrad reached out and she's like, "Hey, I realized you're in town. Do you want to just do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." It was a really cool group of women who were
That's
doing
cool.
it very different ages, very different career paths, but all kind of ended up in the same realm of tech, but
So
also different kind of tech.
what was like a mixture of you?
Well, you know me, there was a girl who's like a machine learning engineer at Google. There was a woman who was doing like development consulting for PwC for ages, and now she, I think, runs her own firm. There's a woman who was doing like law at Meta before. She's like on the general counsel, and now she started her own business. Sounds like a social enterprise.
Nice.
And then there was another woman who was like previously in the military, and now she does government contracting regarding IT. So very different spectrums, honestly, but it was really
like
cool.
that.
Yeah. And the students that also came in and asked really good questions. Some of the students actually, like even the guys, and I was like, wow, I'm really glad that like the university is raising much more emotionally intelligent men. Like what they asked of like as men going into like the tech field and the workforce, which it's like a male dominant environment, he's like, how can we be better allies for women? And he's like, how can we promote them and like, you know, encourage them much more? He's like, so a lot of these biases, like he's like, I don't notice as a man. And so I was like, wow, that's like a really good question.
How old are they? Like
He
20?
was like there, yeah, around like 2021.
Okay, so we're like 10 years early.
Yeah, so I mean, probably raised by some really good mothers. Let's be honest. But anyways, that was that, and
True
then
that.
I tried out the time left thing that you told me about. So I went to the dinner.
Oh, tell me.
It was fun. I like great restaurant. I've been there before. It's like a really good sushi restaurant. So that selection was really good. It was a really fun group of people. Everyone somehow had some sort of ties back to New York, which was interesting. Like a lot of people at some point lived there. Really just, yeah, cool group of people. I don't know if like any of them will we like see again. Maybe one of the girls that was there was an opera singer, which is like such a different career path to like mine. So that was super interesting. And yeah, she just seemed very fun as well. Yeah, and then what else happened? I last week went to Florida with my friend for her birthday. It was very fun. It was also, like as you mentioned, like really good to take a long like weekend off, and just rest. We literally just went to the beach, laid by the pool, read my book. Really nothing crazy, but it was really nice to just do nothing for a little bit. I think that
especially
sometimes
in
we forget to do
corporate
that.
America, I think it's hard.
Yeah, I've also realized that every single time off that I take, I'm running around different countries, like stressing about like flights, trains, like seeing my friends, making sure I can see everyone. And I was like, am I really resting? And so like that was like a nice little break to just do nothing and just actually rest. So hopefully I'll be able to take more of those kinds of little holidays, just like he said.
Yeah, I think it's like you need to consciously decide that I'm not gonna do anything, so then I can really switch off.
Yeah. And essentially, because I started reading a book called Time Management for Mortals, and it has the same thing. And like, I obviously just started reading it, but it's like the same concept of like, it's a luxury nowadays to be able to do nothing, which is so interesting because now we hustle and try to get everything, but now we've learned that we're just creating new needs for ourselves rather than trying to be like, oh, I've actually worked enough and I've got like enough financial security to rest. Whereas now we're like creating more like lifestyle needs, and I think like social media and things like that play into that as well, because they try to have you chasing something that's like super, maybe not unattainable, but like unnecessary for you to be happy. Not to get all philosophical here, but
I feel like we tend to really yap and diverge from the actual reason why.
Apologies. Yeah, let's get into the episode.
But I will say this. I think there is this dilemma of should you work hard in your 20s and like really, really, hustle as much as possible. And then a kind of enjoy, or should you enjoy as much and try different things but not really get to focus on, oh, I need to build myself up in 20 so that I can enjoy later? And I'm myself struggling with this, because there are moments where I'm like, I should do that, and then there are moments when I'm like, no, I actually should do the complete opposite. So
yeah, but hey, at the end of the day, life is short. As I'm trying to make a segue to the episode, we literally had their friend die, who's like in their 30s.
Yeah,
right?
Another friend that we've never seen before and we never will see again because he's dead. But so.
Yeah, Carrie's designer friend. So yeah, do you want to intro us into the episode? So we're on season 2, episode 5.
Yeah. Well,
season 2.
So. I am kind of prepared for the summary, but I will give it a try. So the episode is called For Women and the Funeral. The episode starts with it's just Carrie, Samantha, and Charlotte. They are all going for a funeral of Javier, who is apparently very big in fashion, or was, and overdosed and sadly died. So they're all going to the funeral, which turns to be a big fashion show of his latest season. It's quite an interesting episode. Charlotte meets a man during the funeral at a cemetery, and she tries to date him throughout the episode. He's a widower, and at the end of the episode we learn that she's not the only one he picked up at the cemetery, so she very quickly takes her outside of this dynamics. But the whole time she's kind of trying to save him, or almost finds it attractive that he is so connected to his wife and being emotional. So coming back to what you said, raising emotional men or highly emotional men, what does it even mean? Because I think here I don't really like it, but I think there are different reasons why I don't like it. Anyway, then we have Samantha, who also is at the funeral, and Samantha being Samantha, she uses this opportunity to further expand her business, offers her services to Javier's sister, who is taking over the business, and offers to, I think, fundraise or something for...
Help fundraise, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, it's for the charity that they started to help people with addiction, yeah.
Unfortunately, one of the first clients that she is talking to is a man, and she ends up giving him a blowjob or something, or Samantha being Samantha, and his wife comes in the middle of that. Unfortunately, they are quite high in social ranking, and the wife basically has so much power that she can blacklist Samantha from everything and everywhere. No one wants to work with her. She seems to not be welcome by any restaurant, which is crazy for Samantha and her. She's always, I think, quite successful and perceived as successful. So she's trying to redeem herself and talks to so-called godfather of the female circles, where she's being rejected as of, no, I don't want to help you, you're a whore. And then she ends up working, what is it? Like, the only thing she could do to help the
community service, essentially, exactly. Like to build the place, yeah.
And this was one of the weirdest things about the episode. She is saved by Leonardo DiCaprio, who redeems her social status. And I'm like,
that was the craziest ending.
Was that really Leonardo DiCaprio, or was it just like an abstract?
It wasn't. No, it was like an abstract silhouette of him.
So I've read a little bit more about this episode on Reddit.
Okay.
And apparently it was originally John F. Kennedy Jr. that was supposed to be this figure, but he died 12 days after the episode was aired. Yeah, I know.
Oh, so they had to really quickly reshoot that.
He also dated Sarah Jessica Parker at some point around that time. So I think that's maybe why. And it also makes more sense that someone like that would save Samantha. But because of what happened, they had to change it, and they changed it to Leonardo DiCaprio, which I would be interested to know why they chose him exactly that time of,
I guess they just had to have some celebrity to bring her back into
but why
the
Leonardo
social
DiCaprio?
circles.
Why not like someone who is in politics, or George Clooney, for example, right? Who already back then was
George
kind of...
Clooney, was he big back then already?
Well, that's what I think. George Clooney was definitely big because he's older than Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know where Leonardo DiCaprio was in his career back then. Like, this is in 90s.
It's probably like Titanic, honestly.
Exactly. So I'm like, why? But anyway,
yeah, it was a weird ending. I agree.
Yeah, it is really. I for a moment I was like, am I missing something here? Are they trying to make some kind of parable, or is it really Leonardo DiCaprio? But hey,
yeah.
Then we have Miranda. She buys her own apartment, which no one seems to believe that she can pay for herself. And the more she's going through the procedures and meeting people, the more she realized that it's exception rather than rule. That young females at her age can afford to buy an apartment like that in Manhattan. And she's faced willingly or unwillingly with the whole thought of I'm single, I'm alone, and I will end up alone. Until the point she gets an anxiety attack or a panic attack from that and ends up in the hospital. So I think this is something maybe we probably can relate to quite a lot these days, with the whole mental health discussion being quite discussed compared to the 90s. So I think they were like really ahead of their time. And then our glorious Carrie, after 2 episodes of no big presence, we have a big return where, because they went to a funeral, she realized that, well, I don't know how long do I have on this earth and why I don't just call Big, which she does. They go for a date, they end up enjoying the time a lot and hooking up and kind of ending together as a result. So yay, we're back.
Yay.
Yay. Very happy.
And then do you want to present the question we're going to probably answer towards the end?
Yeah, so there were 2 questions, but I believe that the main one is, how did anyone know how much time they have left?
Oh, because I got a different one. I had can a relationship really bring you back to life?
Oh, shit. Okay, Oh no, I have that one as well. In a world where everyone is dying to make a connection, can the relationship bring you back?
That's the one that I had, because, like, the whole funeral thing and, like, the widower and then Carrie and Big, like, I don't know. That's the one I thought was, like, the big one. But we can answer both. Even more interesting.
I mean, looking at the answer, it doesn't answer neither of them, so...
Great. That's a classic Carrie. All right, shall we start with Miranda then?
Yes. As I mentioned, one of the big themes in this episode is Miranda kind of being a successful woman, you know, powerful. She's a lawyer and she's getting her new apartment, and it's almost like she's having a panic attack because she's buying an apartment. That emphasized that she's single. But like the whole thing is triggered by the apartment, and I mean there's a lot to unpack, but like the first thought that I had was almost like, it's so sad that something that should make you feel really good, especially about yourself and what you have achieved, that it actually triggered the opposite effect in her, which was rather negative feelings, all about I'm single and I don't know if I'm ever gonna find someone, and am I gonna die alone and my cat will eat me after I'm dead.
Well, I think it's a pretty rational fear, because as we've learned, literally the previous person that lived in the apartment died in that apartment, and they had like,
can we trust this random neighbor?
I think so. We can. She knows that someone, like, she died in there. Like, I think that's a pretty concrete fact, right?
For sure, she died. But if the cat ate,
oh no, I don't know. But, I mean, that could be a speculation. That could be like a little spooky story. Whatever. I don't really care about that. But I think it's a very real fear of, well, it's really uncommon for women to buy apartments on their own. I think it's much more common for men to be like, I'm getting my lad's pad. And I've even like met guys in DC that are like, yeah, I'm looking to buy a townhouse, or I'm looking to buy a condo, and they don't even have, well, I mean, they're dating obviously, but they don't have anyone in mind to do this with. So like when a man will buy an apartment or a condo, they won't be getting asked the question of like, oh, are you buying this alone? Because she was, I think, first she was frustrated that she kept on getting asked the same question of like, oh, just you, not like with a partner, or your dad is paying for this. So I think that was just like an uncommon thing. And I think, yeah, the second part is realizing that someone died in the apartment and she doesn't have anyone who would check up on her if she did accidentally die. So I think it's a important thing to me.
Exactly. And I mean, to kind of open the first one, obviously the girls met for breakfast, lunch, whatever, and she said, if I was a single man, none of this would be happening. As of, no one would be looking at her weirdly or questioning the fact that she's buying it alone.
Yeah, exactly.
I also have quotes from the other girls. Do you have that, or should I read it?
No, go for it.
Okay, so who did say that? Okay, Carrie. Buying a place means you don't need a man and then they're scared of you. Charlotte, everyone needs a man, that's why I rent, otherwise it creates power imbalance. If you own and he still rents, it's emasculating, and men don't want a woman like that, who is too self-sufficient. Samantha obviously said, I would date you, so...
Love Samantha. I kind of agree, honestly.
Wait, with which one? Because
bit of both, honestly.
Okay. Elaborate.
I think on Charlotte's side of things, I think that is a true thing. Like, we're playing into the fear or the insecurities of men. And this is funny because this week my friend and I went to a singles mixer, but it was with a matchmaker, and she's written books on this, and she's literally said, she's like, don't date men with low self-esteem. Because someone during the dating event asked a question that I've actually asked like a lot of times, and it's happened to me. It's like, sometimes men who realize that you achieved a certain place in life, or like have earn a certain salary, they won't date you just because they feel like a little bit inferior. But I do think it does come to a sense of insecurity of men, and so that's why, like, yeah, maybe it's just not the right kind of guy. And I think the right kind of guy for Samantha wouldn't have low self-esteem. Otherwise, like,
oh, you mean Miranda?
Miranda, yeah. He just wouldn't make it. She would eat him alive.
I mean, looking at who she ends up with,
I think he has got he's got a pretty high self-esteem. I mean, future episodes, I don't think he's insecure.
He literally rejects her to buy the suit, and then because of that, he can't afford that. Okay, I am kind of going in from,
but he's not saying, I know we're into the future, but like, I don't think
he is. He definitely gets better, but at the beginning, I would say she's definitely more dominant, and
which is fine, I think. But like, it's not like totally he's like, I'm not gonna date you because you earn more than I do.
But you said that Miranda definitely needs someone like who is strong and not insecure, and I don't think whatever his name is, Steve.
Potentially, yeah.
At the first phases of their relationship, I think he feels insecure dating her because of the money difference. Potentially.
Anyway, yeah, okay,
that's
we digress.
Future.
Yeah.
But wait, I wanted to ask. Oh yeah, so two things. A, don't date insecure men. I think that's just like a premise in general, not only in this case. Because if you're dating an insecure man, I mean, money is one subject. Another subject is they will probably fear that you will end up with someone else because, let's say they feel you are pretty and they are not good enough for you, and so they will become overly jealous. That's like another scenario I can just come kind of like imagine really from top of my head. So I would say insecurity is never a good thing, and same goes for the other way around. If you have a woman who is insecure, she probably also will do, like, the reactions will be hard to manage at some point.
Yeah, but I think it also goes both ways. Like, I think both people should have, like, again, I don't think people should go into a relationship with their, I mean, everyone has insecurities, right? But you should be
Yeah.
able to reflect upon them, work through them, go to therapy, that kind of thing. So I think that definitely goes both ways. The
Yeah, I
self-esteem and
mean,
security thing.
I I always feel like if you have an issue, go to therapy. And having, I've been to therapy. I have some things, like everyone does, and I often feel like it's at the end of the day work that you need to do on yourself. Therapy is there to help you, but probably will not heal you to the point that it's gone. It's always going to come back in one way or another throughout your life. It's about how you learn to manage, recognize, and react to it.
Through it. Yeah.
Or not react. So I don't want to be like, yeah, you have issue, go to therapy, because sometimes it's not like all like solution to everything. And often sometimes people say you need to heal yourself first before getting into a relationship. I don't think that's true either. There's so many people who heal through being in another relationship. So like,
I think it definitely depends on the context in that case.
People are messy
relationship.
Exactly. Sometimes the worst advice actually works for you in your concrete case. But anyway, insecure men here, not great. And another thing I wanted to say or like call out is that you went to this mixer and you kind of said you agree with both statements. I listened to a podcast yesterday. It was a discussion between a podcast host, and dear Aline, or Aline, I think it's Aline. She is quite big on social media, like a content creator.
Okay.
And they were talking about dating, and she said herself, I need the man who is, like, I'm 30, she's in her 30s, and she's like, if he's not successful at this age, I don't want to date him, because I want to date someone who can afford the same lifestyle as I do, and I don't want to be the provider. Like, I thought I can pay for a man, and, all I need is emotional security and that kind of thing. But no, I want man to be a man, and I don't want to be the one who's paying. So that kind of feeds in each other, because men feel like they need to be the more, successful or somehow being respected by a woman, mostly through social status or money or power. And then because there are actually women who are successful, they're often like, yeah, I don't want to necessarily be with someone who is below me, not because I don't respect them, although for some that might be a case, but it's more like, I need someone who can match me, I don't want to be...
I still think that's a personal take, though, right? Like...
But this is just example of two people, or, your experience plus looking at it from the other side, of one person who is relatively successful from monetary perspective and sharing her own perspective. But it's not surprising then that men feel insecure if that's actually the reaction they get, also.
No, I hate to give the LSC answer, but I think it really depends on, like, the dynamic, the relationship. Because, like, one of the other things that I also heard the dating event is, like, don't be so set in your ways. It's not, be open to finding love. Like, you shouldn't be, like, prescriptive about, like, you should definitely know what you like and what you don't like, but you shouldn't be, like, super, like, rigid about it. So I think, like, you can still, like, in Miranda's case, she, I think, imagined a very different guy for herself, but she ended up falling for this guy, right? So, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like, the real relationships never, in my opinion, start from, I went by a script and then was dating whoever fit the criteria the best was the person. No, it was almost like it happens and you don't even know how. And then you are retrospective being like, oh yeah, this person actually has this quality, but they are not perfect in any regards, but still you like them because of the connection you have, rather than being perfect on paper. I coming to dating apps, the thing we revisited quite often, but it supports this whole idea that I need to find someone that is perfect on paper, and if I swipe enough, I will find them at the end of the day. I don't think that's how human connection is built or was supposed to be built.
That's hard. Yeah. No, I think because again, at the end of the day, it's just like one of the many tools. But I think, in-person interactions and things like that, you can tell a lot more about your attraction or non-attraction person. So we digress. But anyways, yeah.
I mean, it was like, as we always do, in like really, really long way saying that you kind of agree with both statements of Carrie and Charlotte. And I do agree to some extent as well. I really would say like this. Combining all their answers together is how I feel about it.
Yeah. No, I do like their multi-dynamic perspective on it for sure.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, and I think it's great because like before, I don't know, obviously the show and before other times, women didn't have like they can open bank accounts, right? They couldn't buy their own apartments, but like it is part of that like feminist liberation that you can do these things. But I think that sorry, it doesn't inherently make it easier for women to live in that world, because then we still go back to Miranda, who has fear around it. Right, even though it is, you're totally right. Like it should be something that's so greatly should be celebrated. Like it's an achievement, to be able to do this on your own. But actually, instead, it brings fear.
I mean, going to that second part of it, I do understand it, and I was, reading a little bit on Reddit. Probably you can tell about the episode, and what I found is many women, especially in their late 20s, early 30s. Were saying, oh, I can relate to Miranda so much in this episode. I experienced something similar. It's so hard to, go through or like being there for myself all the time and doing it all by myself. It's not easy. And I kind of felt like that a few times in my life as well, where I was really, during university, I was really trying to go for the best and deliver the best results. And then all the pressure when you're at uni, I need to find a great first job and it needs to be as good as possible again. And all that pressure. And at the end of the day, I was like, well, I'm at this great university and I feel shitty. Like I'm getting this great, connections and internships. But I still don't feel happy because there is no one that I'm really sharing it with. And I think that's really what this is about, that what's the point of having it all if you don't have anyone to share it with?
Yeah. And it's also kind of interesting because I saw this post on Instagram that I was like, your mom was worried you get pregnant at 16, but now she's hoping you get pregnant by 35. And it's like, and I kind of related to that so badly because like I totally agree with you. Like and I think, like, there's nothing wrong with this, right? Because, again, I think our parents and our families wanted it to set us up for success, especially, like, if we were in countries outside of, like, our own home places. And we have to be able to assimilate. We have to be able to have the good jobs. We have to be able to survive. We have to have the visas, And that does require a lot of hard work, and it does have to require funding that you have to, like, self-fund yourself. So you have to become independent. You have to be, like, a self-starter in so many ways. But you're put on this track, and you're just, like... And I mean, I dated, but, like, I didn't date with the intention of, like, oh, this is gonna be my sole, like, focus. I've never focused on dating as much as I have on, like, my professional life. But I am thinking at the end of the day, like, one of the things I have always been for myself, and, like, something that I thought would make me happy as well in the future, or, like, a different aspect of happiness, obviously, because I'm relatively happy now. But, like, as having a family and having a partner in that case, right? But, like, that becomes harder and harder nowadays, I think, now that we're older. But I'm also thinking about it. So, like, question for you. Would you, if you were in Miranda's position, would you buy an apartment like that? Like, do you see yourself doing that on your own?
For sure. Jesus, if I have money to buy an apartment. Because for me, it's like, we are living in a crisis in terms of housing. Yeah. If I can afford to buy a house now, it's an investment that is good. And I feel safe So if everything goes wrong and I lose my job and I somehow, suddenly don't have the amount of cash that I had before, I don't need to struggle on where
you still have to pay mortgage a lot
of
of times when you buy a house, but
okay, yeah, sorry. Clearly I'm not buying
I don't think she was buying it all cash. Let's just put it that way. She had a down payment.
You can clearly see that I am not buying anything. I can see where it's coming from, but looking at this from the reality of today, whoever can buy, good for you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Okay. I mean, I agree. I like that you took a very modern professional woman approach on it. As like, it's a good investment.
Yeah, because it is.
Yeah, like, that's absolutely fair.
Let's be honest, the only person you can really rely on is you at the end of the day. Even if it's just that, at some point your partner will die or whatever will happen, it's always a possibility that something can go horribly wrong, and I've seen it way too many times where mostly women would fully depend on their partner, and then something went wrong and they struggle. And that's one of the biggest fears for me. I don't ever want to be in the situation where I'm solely dependent on my partner providing
that makes sense.
the financial support. It's nice, it's great, but you never know what happens. So as funny as it is, Charlotte saying that's why I rent, otherwise it creates a balance of power. Fuck that. She's gonna be the one who gets this crazy apartment and she will own it. But I think, it's like very hypocritical.
I also do relate to her. It's like it comes back to being raised as to be like a good girl, right? It's like men are never raised to think this way. And this is like one of my other, like my hot takes, like boys and girls should be raised the same. Is like girls are raised to talk and behave in certain ways that don't upset men, right? It's like you have to obey, and it's like, and it's not just men, it's also like your parents when you're growing up and all this stuff. Like your girls are like raised to listen and obey and be caring and loving, right? Whereas like guys were never raised to be like, oh, if I do this, it's gonna make her feel that way. Like, I don't, again, I think it comes back to like her quite traditional upbringing.
Good point. That's a big truth. I'm not sure if that's so applicable today in terms of how kids are raised, but definitely is the case when we were raised and our generation. Yeah, I agree. And as much as we are judging here, there are always so many angles into everything that people go through. So I'm definitely also someone who has an opinion, and I know that it might change in the future. So it's nice to see a development of someone, like in this case Charlotte, saying, oh no, I don't want to rent, or like I don't want to own because it's emasculating, and then she is really, really, kind of empowering that fight for the apartment. And I'm really spoiling the future, but
I know, but she does have some character development, let's put it that way, like without spoiling it. I think her life takes shape in a way that really almost not proves her wrong, but it makes her like reconsider like her previous opinions. So, but anyways, on to Charlotte.
Speaking of Charlotte, she is being very, what's the word? I
think it's quite Charlotte of her, right? She's like, I think it's almost like buying a second-hand purse, right? It's like, oh wait, he actually comes like pretty much, I don't want to say house trained, which is horrible, like I don't want to be like that horrible to men, but like he's done this whole marriage thing before. He's able to commit, so she thinks that she's found this like gem in the rough, right?
So hot take on this, because I understood this in my way, and reading through Reddit, I don't think anyone else did. Do you think that was real? Because I was like, he's just faking this in order to get girls?
That's a good question. So like
we never know if that's true.
I don't really understand what is it that he ultimately wants. Right? Because I think it's just attention.
Yeah, but I mean, this was just a pickup line or technique to get girls, for in my opinion, which is he was pretending that he was a widower because it seemed to be working.
Oh, so you don't think he even had a wife?
No, that's what I mean.
Oh my god. Okay, I never thought about it that way. I mean, that's kind of creepy then. If that's the case, that's terrifying.
That's what I mean. Because, like, we see at the end that there are 3 other women coming to the grave to bring lilies. And then Charlotte realizes that, yeah, I'm not the only one. But his reaction is like, yeah, there are more girls. It's almost like, I'm just doing this.
I don't know if the whole wife thing was fake, though. I don't know if it was. I think to me, it seemed real, but I'm also very gullible. But that just seems like a lot to go through to come up with fake stories. Because it's not like he met them all in the cemetery. I think he met them at different parts of life. Well, and he was like, I'm a widower.
That's the question. Did he met them at different parts of his life? I think
so. I don't think he met all of them. How many women hang out at the cemetery? Like, how many good-looking women hang out at the cemetery? Like, young women. I think in this case it was because their friend in their 30s died of a drug overdose. That's why they were dead. But I don't think a lot of young people go to funerals.
I don't know how's the experience of fancy New York cemeteries. But if that was the way how he was getting women, I think is a very unique way of doing it. And I almost understood it as someone who made up who they are to get girls.
That's a sociopath at that point. That's an actually terrifying thing. That's very spooky.
Yeah, but you don't know if that was true. Like, it was never really explained in the episode whether he was just...
I guess, a pathological liar.
So you think he was an actual widower?
I think so. That's a lot to make up, and if you made up that much, you're insane. You're actually insane. Like, what?
I mean, my question here was, have you ever dated someone who made up who they are? Inspired by this?
Would I know? I don't think so. Have you?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
But there were so many cases recently on Netflix where women would be tricked by a man who was pretending to be something that he's not, mostly rich, and then they paid him, send him money. So I don't think it's so far-fetched. It's just a little bit extreme.
Yeah, I've had guys, like, lie about maybe their wealth or something like that, but I just thought, like, they're just liars at that point. It's not like they're an actual sociopath that makes up, like, a whole new personality and a whole new person.
Okay. So, I mean, this was my take. What was your take about this whole widower story?
I think I bought into the story, like, it was his dead wife, but I do not understand what his point was. It's like I don't think he clearly wants a monogamous relationship. I think he wants the attention and just like a series of situationships with these women, like playing house again.
Yeah, I mean, if he actually was a widower and he was dealing with loss, it's not that surprising that he kind of was messy and just getting the attention when he got one, and maybe a little bit more intimacy because it's something that he craved.
Yeah.
And kind of dealing with the loss in not the best way, but it's a way. There are people who, after you comparing death with breaking up, slightly different, but there are people who after breakup would go crazy in terms of one night stands and
Yeah, everyone deals with it differently, obviously. But speaking of dead people coming back to life,
closing. So
I mean, Big and Carrie, like I.
Wait, so like, what's the closing here on Charlotte?
I mean, she bought into yet another what she thought would be a perfect relationship. It's a classic Charlotte. So
she romanticized the whole idea of him being sweet and caring for his wife, and thought that that's what
she bought into the lore and like what he told her. 100%. And I do respect her for being like standing up for herself, being like, I'm not doing this is messed up.
This
is, like,
no, she has some standards. I like that. Like, you would be like,
she stands her ground.
Yeah, you would be like, yeah, why the fuck are you dating a widower? Like, that's really low for you. And then there would be a moment where she's like, nope, I'm gone, I'm out of this.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Anyway,
Carrie and Big. It's a weird segue into her calling him up of like, oh, I went to a funeral, so I thought of you. But
Well, it kind of goes to the question that and I mean both of the questions that we pose, which is, thinking about that you are not eternal and you don't know how much time you have left, and
YOLO. Carpe diem.
Yeah, like rekindling with people that you actually care about, because at the end of the day, there are not going to be that many that when you think about, okay, if I'm dying tomorrow, who I want to see, right? This kind of thing. So I think she felt a little bit reminiscent from that and being like, well, I only live once. Let's just call him.
But my thing is, I don't think I understand what she's done. I'm not judging her because I probably would have done the same.
Not.
No, but like the things between them that were wrong or off and that they misaligned on have not changed.
Yes, it's stupid. Then,
but I get what she's doing.
How many times have you done something that you knew something
was a bad idea and you've done it anyways? Yeah, 100%.
But like that you were like, yeah, this person is not good for me, and yet I ended up with him again after X time.
Yeah. But hey, there's always a way to get things out of the system, and that's fine.
Hey, what are you talking about?
No, just like if she thinks that like, hey, I want to be with him even though there might not be a future there, just for again a phase in her life and a period for a relationship, that's fine.
I think she thought about it. I think she
thought about it either.
Living in the moment, and being like...
Yeah, it was kind of an impulse thing to do.
Exactly, very impulsive. And I'm just gonna call him because at this moment, I would like to spend time with him, and I don't really think about the future, which probably she will in the next episodes, where she will basically going crazy because she will be overthinking the future if she's not seeing the right signals from him, which is what we saw in the season 1. But I completely understand from a human level this behavior, because if you want someone and they are not available, and then you make this difficult decision of I need to end it because it's not good for me, but then you still miss the person, and it feels like it was the best thing you've had, or like the best person you've had, and you try to date around and it's not working, and then like trigger like this is like, fuck that, I'm just gonna call him or her.
No, that's fair. I love the quote of a sight of so many little deaths.
What was that?
It was when they were in his apartment, I think. It was just interesting because they were talking about like coming back to life with the relationship.
What was it? But what was the discussion or the dialogue of?
No, that was just her reflection of like, she showed up at his place and she's like, oh, I'm back at the site of so many little deaths.
Oh, I see.
So I thought that was very clever. All right.
So what do you think? No, wait. What do you think about this whole?
You know what I think.
Reopening of their relationship. I mean,
it's inevitable. She's still not over him.
She never was.
She never was.
But how do you feel about it now? I mean,
I understand it. Do I agree with it? Not exactly. My rational side is like, what is happening? My emotional side is like, yeah, I get that.
Has it ever happened to you?
Yeah.
And was it ever a good idea to go to something where you felt like it's
I
not
think in
good
the short term, yes. I think, like, if you think in the short term of, like, would this make me happy right now? For the moment, yes, if you're not thinking about the future. The moment you think about the future, you're like, oh, it's just going down the wrong path again.
Because she is literally embracing stay delusional, which I'm claiming to be my motto of 2025, so...
Consistently delusional.
I would say, yes, I agree with you, but then I've had situations where it actually got better. Like it.
No, again, it depends on the context. In this case,
no, but
we also we don't spoil, but
you know, like, I thought it makes no sense, and I continued going back to the situation, and at the end it actually worked. I mean, it's probably an exception to the rule, but
it really depends on what was the problem, right? If it's like something that is unfixable, unchangeable, in that case,
everything is fixable until the person dies.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Like, if he wants to work.
My example is, Big and Carrie are very different. Like, in their case, I think it can work. Sorry, we've got some trash can. In their case, it can work because it's something that they can change, they can fix, they can discuss. I've been in a situation where I went down the wrong path, which I knew long-term was a wrong path, because this person consistently told me that the thing that is the issue between us is never going to change because that's how they are. And if they keep on consistently telling me never,
they didn't want to change.
They didn't want to change, and I'm not here picking up a project like Charlotte was.
It's for sure.
In that case, I don't... again, it depends on the situation. But in the case of Big and Carrie...
We can't know, because, like, this is basically the second time she went back. And let's see. Maybe he will be open to working on him a little bit. Yeah. Because he realized some stuff. Maybe not. And we will see. That's what the next 4 seasons are about. Or 5.
So,
anyway.
Can a relationship bring you back to life?
Yes. Oh. Answer.
Interesting.
I mean, like, for sure, a relationship can bring you back as it can bring you down. It can bring you back. But her answer is actually, which is what you wanted. I didn't know if I was...
I like both. Go for it.
If it was a suicide or not. All I knew was Big and I had been reincarnated, and I never felt more alive. So yes,
I didn't know she was dead, but you know.
I mean, she feels like she's back, alive. I agree. I definitely think, not relationship, but people, as, you know, individuals, can bring you back. And the closer you have the relationship, the more impactful it is. So yeah, I like the answer, actually. Is it right? Slightly toxic, maybe? Yeah?
Yeah, as always.
Elizabeth, your stake?
I mean, I think it's fine. I think I don't have as much beef with this one as usually. At least she admits it. Do I think a relationship can bring you back to life? I guess. I don't think it should be the only thing that's making you happy. Again, that's coming back to that, and I think making you happy is what brings you back to life and joy.
But it can be,
I think it has a factor.
If you break up with someone, your relationship with your friends will bring you back. That's what I mean. It doesn't have to be romantic.
Family, friendships, yeah, that's true.
So they actually would bring you back, right? Like, it's always said, build your network strong, because if you break up, whatever, friends are there to help you to get out of it, and often it's a case. So, and that's also a relationship. Yeah. I think that she means a romantic one here, but if we look at it more from general terms, I think relationships are core for us to feel fulfilled.
We're social creatures. Yeah,
I'm so smart.
You're so smart. So wise.
And that's why, you know, you will not have an anxiety attack if you buy an apartment by yourself, because you're like, I have the relationships and I am successful, and therefore I'm fine. So you just need to have it all. That's it.
Just have your shit together.
just be successful, have money, have friends, you know. Easy peasy.
Yeah, for sure. Anywho. All right.
All right.
Anything else? Anyways, next week we're going to talk about the cheating curve.
Tun. It's going to be spicy one.
Yeah.
It's like I'm following my motto from the beginning. The more you fuck around, the more you find out.
Wait a second. I need to actually understand that. Can you explain that to me? The more you fuck around, the more you find out.
I was listening to a podcast, I believe, or something, and they said it there, and I was like, that's true. The more you fuck around, and
What was the story? What's the context here?
I don't know. I don't know what was their story, but for me, it's like the more you try out and make mistakes, fuck things around, the more you find out about how it works.
So like
what do you like?
Learning. Oh, okay,
yes.
like learning
what
lessons,
did you
like taking risks. I don't know. I was trying to understand what that even meant, but I understand it now. It's like, well, it's the same thing as like the classic saying. I mean, it's less, I would say, crude, but like, you learn by making mistakes, and like.
But I feel, we are in such a curated world these days, especially the younger generations, where like I'm not gonna do it because unless I do it perfectly, I am afraid of doing it. Like approaching relationships, right? Dating. Like if you're not perfect, you're not even trying. And I feel like we are kind of losing this
authenticity.
No, more like risk taking.
Okay, fair.
And yeah, so I like that because of that. Because I am someone who often feels like unless I'm 100% perfect in doing something, I'm not gonna do it.
Fair. No, it should not hold you back. You're right.
You should not.
Get real philosophical towards the end again.
Let me go. Jump straight into the sea and figure it out.
Yeah. Learn by swimming in the deep end. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye. Woo!